Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear about the summer slide in education and what's being done about it. And we'll meet the author of a new novel that focuses on the drug wars in Mexico. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Water levels at Lake Mead are at a record low. The new mark was hit yesterday as the lake sunk to levels that will trigger a water supply shortage and cutbacks of Colorado River water if those levels don't rebound by the end of the year. Now, water managers do expect levels to improve thanks to a wetter than expected spring, but they emphasize that in the long run, more water is needed to avoid a shortage. And former Phoenix City Councilman and legal activist Gary Peter Klahr has died. Klahr served on the council in the mid-70s, but is better known for filing a one-man, one-vote lawsuit that shifted the state's political power from rural areas to population centers. Klahr was also a two-time candidate for Maricopa County Attorney and served on the board of the Phoenix High School District. Gary Peter Klahr, dead at the age of 73. Tonight's edition of Arizona Education looks at what's called the summer slump or the summer slide, a time of year that out-of-school Arizona students can fall behind. Producer Christina Estes and photographer Langston Fields show us how a school in the Kyrene district is fighting summer learning loss.
We are going to be working in space today.
While Ashley Thomas's class is in Chandler, her students are focused on Mars, in particular NASA's mobile lab known as Curiosity.
Fixing Curiosity rover because we ran into a little bit of trouble where a part has broken on our rover.
Students will get a feel for what it's like to repair something in space.
This is what your final tool will look like once you put it together.
They make sure to have all the pieces they need
nylon spacer
to complete their work as quickly as possible.
Get set, go!
They wear goggles and gloves to better experience the challenges that astronauts face.
It's so important to keep students engaged during the summertime with those 2 months off.
Thomas calls it the summer slide.
They come back in the fall and you're having to reteach what you taught at the very end of the school year because the brain isn't triggering and sending those synapses to each other, keeping those connections tight.
Research shows teachers can spend 4 to 6 weeks reviewing material forgotten over the summer. Students generally experience the biggest learning loss in math.
Look, all these lines.
Calvin D'Souza is among 1,600 students enrolled in Kyrene Summer Academy. It's a 4-hour daily program with classes like Slimy Science, Geology Rocks, and Planet Hunters.
I got inspired by space when I was 5 years old.
Calvin says he's visited NASA about 5 times, but this is his first attempt at fixing a part for Mars Curiosity.
It's hard. You have these tiny bolts with the big gloves, you're trying to put it onto this big stick rod, and it's pretty hard, that I've got to say. But I just mastered it in a second.
As they learn to follow instructions, these students also gain an appreciation for patience and perseverance.
Good job, Nathan.
Like many summer programs, Kyrene charges a fee, but Thomas says students don't have to be enrolled in formal camps to avoid the summer slide.
There's public libraries where they offer many programs that are usually for free, not just in reading, but they also do some science exploration and really cool activities at libraries. Even in your own backyard, you can go out with your child and explore, get them thinking about, how things are made, engage them in conversations about what they're interested in and what they think about things.
Kyrene District offers other summer programs, including Spanish immersion and community theater. Here now with more about the summer learning is Gabriel Trujillo, principal of Trevor Brown High School in Phoenix, and Sue Edmond, director of Title I and School Improvement for the Mesa Public School District. Good to have you both here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Summer slide, summer slump, how real is that?
Oh, it's definitely real to have a summer slump because research shows us that kids that have are educationally disadvantaged for a short period of time where they're not connected to a learning piece, as the Kyrene clip talked about, that those students can have to 2 to 3 months learning deficit in the area of reading and math. So it's important that we bring activities to these kiddos in the school setting.
It's especially true, as you mentioned, for lower income kids. Why is that?
Absolutely. You know, the research that was referenced really goes back to Carl Alexander, a researcher out of Johns Hopkins, who really, with some groundbreaking research in 2007, looked at 600 kids in the Baltimore public schools area, really the most economically disadvantaged neighborhoods of the city. And he tested them 2 times during 1 year with the California Achievement Test. He tested the kids in September, and then he tested them again in June. And what he found is sort of really changed the way we think about summer vacation. He found that these kids, these economically disadvantaged kids, a majority of which were African American and Hispanic, actually learned more during the school year. But then when he tested them again in September, coming back from the 3-month summer break, they actually slipped as much as a grade level in reading and writing. And it took them 2 to 3 months into the school year to recover those skills. This was in stark contrast to another subgroup of that study of some more economically advanced students in some more economically privileged parts of town. He found that with this subgroup, that those particular students really didn't lose as much over the summer because of access to educational opportunities that the poor kids didn't have.
I was going to say, why the difference? I mean, kids are kids, aren't they? I remember as a kid, I don't remember too much in the way of formal learning activities. I remember a lot in the way of formal physical activities and having fun and sports and going out in the schoolyard and doing all sorts. What's going on out there?
When you talk about the socioeconomic students that had more advantages, parents took them places. We read them books. We brought them to different museums. As we traveled on trips, we had conversations and there was learning events. Those students that might be in a low socioeconomic environment may or may not, because parents are working 2 to 3 jobs to be able to make the family, meet ends. So the school districts have to look at ways to provide those opportunities district-wide and at school sites to be able to provide those experiences.
So it's not necessarily a super formal activity, it's just the activity of reading, of seeing, of doing, instead of just sitting around.
Right, and some of the programs that we have for our elementary schools in Mesa, we have our community education department that offers different types of camps. So we have kids camp, and they may be doing activities revolving around some science experiments like you saw over in Kyrene, social studies like I was looking to see what's coming the 4th of July week. They're going to be studying the Founding Fathers in a unique way, putting drama together with the Founding Fathers and the history of the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And then for the low socioeconomic students, the Title I funding that I support, we have 55 elementary and junior high students that are receiving additional summer extended learning based on their academic needs, but we're doing it a little differently in the classroom for them.
Indeed, and you're talking about Title I kids here, obviously a principal at a high school. Are we seeing different results or different outcomes of a summer slide in different age groups?
Well, I have to agree. I think that the key is offering the educational opportunities, because being the principal of the largest high school in the city, 3,200 kids, we are school-wide Title I, high minority population. Our kids are just as brilliant, just as bright, just as hardworking as any other kid in any other part of the city, but it comes down to access. So the Phoenix Union High School District has really done some great stuff around summer programming. Namely, not just the traditional summer school, which is a traditional seat time experience for kids, but this is the first year that we've, through a product called Edgenuity, have offered online opportunities for kids, not just to make up credits that have been lost or to have a remedial experience, but actually to work ahead. And so for the first time, our computer labs district-wide have been open to kids. We see kids coming early in the morning, kids staying later in the afternoon, essentially working ahead.
I was going to ask about the hours. A summer program, how long does it last per day? How long does it last per week?
We have some programs in Mesa that go from 8 to 12 and some go to 8 to 5. It depends on the nature. So we have a wide variety of opportunities that parents can select from, both the academic traditional classrooms if that's what the parent wants, and or what you were talking about, Gabriel, our career and technical education program. We have different clubs. So they have a STEM club on science, technology, engineering, and math, and they do video productions so the kids can be able to see different things that they may want to do for their future.
Options are out there. Apparently, are options meeting demand?
Options aren't meeting demand. Unfortunately, the biggest challenge that we face, or that any high school, I'm sure that my colleague Sue here from Mesa Public Schools will agree, is getting students to take advantage of the opportunities. While we have a great percentage of students that do come in and come online and take advantage of the new Edgenuity online opportunity in summer school, we have a great segment of the student body that is still disconnected from those opportunities, largely for socioeconomic reasons, largely for family reasons. We see a lot of our students are basically the child care providers for their parents that are working 2 or 3 jobs during the summer, so they're not able to come on in and take advantage of those opportunities. And it really is a double-edged sword, because once a student enters high school, it does become about credit accumulation and credit loss. And credit loss is the #1 factor that will determine whether a student graduates from high school or not. And course failure, the ability to get the A or the B or the C and not the D or the F, is the chief determinant in credit accumulation. So when you have students that are cut off from the very programs that will help them to make up those credits or those failed courses because of childcare or other reasons they've got to work and contribute, it's equally as devastating, because then it adds on to the academic lapse that they suffer from the summer slide as well.
So when you talk about the continuum of elementary, junior high, and high school, what you need to do, and I know with your feeder schools that go into your school, you want to be able to make a connection to build that information with parents that it's important to be able to keep that educational going in various different ways through opportunities, so they continue to attend in junior high and then into high school.
So what would you like to see, real quickly, about 30 seconds left, what would you like to see as far as summer learning programs? More money infused into the system, more cooperation, participation? What do you want to see?
We need to keep thinking outside the box on different ways that we can produce different activities and opportunities for kids to connect. And we also want to be able to bring the parents in to be able to help them to connect as well. Because we have a family literacy program this summer at one of our elementary schools that the parents are on campus working with the kids, and then they're bringing home. So we're trying something out to be a little innovative at one of our schools.
And very quickly, what would you like to see?
I think we need to redo the way we do the school year and the school day. I think we need to move more towards a year-round school model. There's some great models out there, namely the famous KIPP academies that are proven to be very successful schools that do just that in some of this nation's toughest cities. They have a year-round model. The actual school day is a little bit longer, and there's school on Saturdays. And their college graduation rate is absolutely outstanding. So I think we take current resources, we take what we're doing now, we sort of revisit the calendar and the bell schedule.
All right, very good. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Best-selling author Don Winslow is out with a new novel that focuses on the war on drugs. The book is titled The Cartel, and it's a true-to-life epic about the past decade of the Mexican-American drug wars. Don Winslow joins us now to talk about his new work. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. This is quite the page-turner, as I'm sure you're well aware. You wrote the doggone thing, but
I hope it is, yeah.
It's a sequel to a book that was written, what, 10 years ago? What's going on with that?
Well, 10 years ago, I wrote a book called The Power of the Dog, which followed about 30 years of the drug wars through the eyes mostly of two characters, a DEA agent named Art Keller and a drug lord named Don Barrera. When I was done with that book, I thought I was done with this topic. You know, I didn't want to revisit it. But as I watched the evolution of the Mexican drug conflicts spiral, you know, into violence that we hadn't dreamed about in our worst nightmares, I finally decided, albeit reluctantly, to go back and write the sequel.
Was it difficult to write the sequel, considering all that had happened over the years?
It was organizationally difficult. You know, the story really follows this sort of blood vendetta between these two men. And that's the spine of the story, you know. I think I've written about Art Keller now for 45 years of his life, you know. Maybe more than my wife or son, I think I've spent time with Art Keller. Organizationally, it was difficult because there's so many events in the Mexican drug conflict over such a broad territory that was hard to bring together.
Well, how do you research something like this, and how do you? Some of these stories coming out of Mexico were absolutely horrific and gruesome. How do you weave that kind of thing into character studies of a cartel leader and a DEA agent?
Yeah, you know, it's easy to sort of look at a drug lord, a cartel leader, and say, that's an evil person. And by any objective standard, he is. No question about that. They do horrible things. But for a novelist, I don't think that's good enough. You know, I think that you have to try to tell human stories, and you have to let the reader at least try to see the world through that person's point of view, as repulsive as you personally might find it.
Well, and indeed, the characters are very well rounded here. I mean, the drug lord, at times you wonder, goodness gracious, is this the same guy that's having all these other folks killed? But when you do characters like this, I mean, did you have them in mind? Did they surprise you? Did they grow out of whole cloth? Are they based on? How do you do? And does the character come first or the plot?
Character always needs to come first, I think. Now, there's an exception to that with a book like this, which is very, very close to the bone, very close to the facts. There's very little that happens in the cartel that didn't actually happen in one form or another. Of course, I've moved it around for dramatic purposes, and I've fictionalized characters. Some characters are drawn from real-life people, and anybody familiar with the Mexican drug scene would go, oh, that's sort of him, and that's sort of him, and this guy did that. Others were whole cloth. There's a journalist character in the piece that, for me, started as a minor character, a way to introduce us into Juarez. But I kind of liked him so much and liked hanging out with him so much that he became a major character. I kind of enjoyed his point of view, and that was surprising to me.
I was going to say, how many surprises do you have when you're writing a novel? Because the creative process fascinates me, because it's just you and either a blank page or a blank computer screen. It's your world, yet you are basing your world on a very real world.
Yeah, you know, there's an old saying, if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. You know, which I think means you have to look at real-life events or iconic crime stories like The Godfather,
yes,
you know, other ones, and acknowledge the reality. But then, you know, once you've sort of nodded to that milepost, if you will, you have to walk your own road. And that can be quite surprising in the way that some of these incidents impact you, or things you didn't think you were going to write about, you found so amazing you had to write about them.
Well, with that in mind, did you start this novel with a theme in mind, a message in mind?
No, no. I think the story is the message. You know, Lord knows I can get preachy, although, you know, I try to avoid it. But I'm a novelist. My job is to interest you and to entertain you and to bring you into a world that you maybe otherwise couldn't experience, and bring it through those characters' eyes. So I didn't have a message in mind. I have some opinions. but no real message in mind.
Well, because of the serious nature of the novel, I was wondering, why not go nonfiction? I mean, obviously you know your business here. This is not some guy just sitting out there making stuff up. Right. You've done your research. You've been around the block a few times. Obviously, you've talked to a lot of folks. Why not why fiction?
A couple of reasons. First, I'm a novelist. I think that's what I do best. There's some great journalism out there on this subject. I could name you the names, and I acknowledge them in the book. I'm better as a fiction writer, but also, I think that in some ways journalism can give facts, fiction can tell truth. Because we have the license, we're allowed to imagine the inner lives of characters. You guys, unless someone says something, you can't put that dialogue in their mouth, or you shouldn't. I can. I can go into their heads and make things up and imagine how they might be feeling, what they might be thinking, and hopefully realistically so. So I love that novelistic license to do that, and I think I can bring the reader closer to this world through fiction than I actually could through nonfiction.
With the war on drugs, and again, obviously, you're very steeped in research on this, and it's such a major part, obviously the complete part of this novel. Your thoughts on the war on drugs and what has transpired in the last 10 years?
I wish it were the last 10 years. It's the last 45 years. We've been fighting this war in the same way for 45 years, and the results are drugs are more potent, more plentiful, and less expensive than ever. So without disrespecting the very brave people who fought this war, DEA personnel, ICE personnel, customs, police, I have great respect for them. But I think if something hasn't worked for 40 some odd years, it's time to try something else.
What would that something else be?
Basically legalization, or at least decriminalization.
What do you think would happen if that occurred?
Listen, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. There are a lot of models that people have made. I think you would see a spike in drug use that I think would pretty quickly go down. That was Portugal's experience, for instance, when they legalized everything. What I do know would happen is that we would save something like $89 billion a year, and we could use that money to do other things. You just had some people on from education. We could use that money to improve schools, to pay for programs like the very interesting program you were just talking about. We could use that money to address the root causes of the drug problem.
So, again, back to the novel itself, what kind of reaction have you heard from DEA folks? Have you heard from the folks on the other side?
With this novel, it's only been out a few days.
Right.
I have heard from DEA folks already.
And?
Mixed. They loved the novel. They didn't necessarily, one of them liked the sort of take. Another one very privately told me, I agree with you. Another one was very against legalization.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard from the other side, as you call it, yet.
Power of the dog. Did you hear, or did word get to you that this was considered real life, or this was not a very good thing that you did?
I have heard from all facets of the drug war about Power of the Dog. There are police departments that use it as a textbook.
Interesting.
I have had DEA people come up to me and say, "Who were you talking to?"
Yes.
I have had people from the darker side of this say, you got it right.
Hollywood calling?
Hollywood's called. We're in the late screenplay phase of Power of the Dog now, to be followed by The Cartel.
So you've got Power of the Dog.
Sir.
Screenplay's happening. This one, obviously, something's got to happen here, because there's just going through every page is a turner, and you set things up very well. It's not too complicated, and it's interesting. The violence is there, but and I'm sure you've heard this before. There's a little bit of Godfather going on here.
I have heard that. I think Esquire called it the Godfather of the Mexican drug wars.
Yes.
It's almost unavoidable. When I wrote Power of the Dog, I was basing it on a certain family. In reality, they were so like the family in The Godfather. There was the cerebral son, there was the rash, violent son, and there was the screw-up, that I couldn't write it the real way because it was so close to Michael, Sonny, and Fredo from The Godfather. But I think anytime you're writing about organized crime, the reality, there are just certain similarities that are going to be there.
Last question. 10 years for the sequel to happen. Going to wait another 10 years for a sequel? Are you ever going back to these people?
No.
You're not?
I don't think so. Listen, I said that, you know, with equal conviction after Power of the Dog, and I went back on it. So I guess you learn never say never. But right now I have no plans to do that. I want to move on to other subjects.
What are your other subjects?
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
I want to keep it a surprise.
Oh, come on now.
All I can tell you is, you know, I don't think I've written my best book yet.
All right. That's the way to think. My goodness. Well, congratulations. It really is quite a read, and you've had quite a career. A lot of successful novels, and I'm sure more in the future. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Thursday, on Arizona Horizon, Phoenix City Manager Ed Zerker responds to reports that city officials knew of FAA flight path changes but did nothing about it. And we'll hear from Central Arizona Project about what new record low levels at Lake Mead mean to the state. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Helios Education Foundation is proud to underwrite Arizona Education, a 12-month series highlighting the issues affecting college and career readiness of our students. Through a decade of strategic partnerships, Helios is working to change lives and strengthen communities through education.